afternoon, folks. It's Robert Chappell, Executive Editor of Madison365, with your daily update for Tuesday, September 21st. Does that sound right? I think it is. I think that's right. Um, the COVID numbers today look just about as bad as we thought they would. Frankly, they're not quite as bad as I feared. You remember yesterday, we saw 1,500 and something new cases on a Monday. That's bad, right? Mondays are usually much lower than the other rest of the week because there's not as much testing being processed on the weekend. So you get 400 or 500 new cases on a Monday, and then you're back up over 2,000 on Tuesday. So that 1,500 on a Monday did not bode well for the week. And I predicted yesterday we're in for a tough week. And, I wasn't wrong. Our 7-day average of new cases is now up to 2,967, basically 3,000 a day over the past week. Yeah, that's a lot. We didn't get that high last year until well into October, like mid-October. So we're about 3 weeks ahead in terms of cases. We're about 3 weeks ahead of where we were last year, when we remember everything went off the rails in the fall last year. In terms of positive test rate, which is frankly a better measure of the sort of the entire situation, is 7.9. Yesterday was 8.1, so it doesn't go up. It didn't go down, meaningfully, but it didn't go up either. That's basically been hovering like in the high 7% to 8% range since like August 2nd. So, 7 weeks. It took this big upward spike through July. It was early July, it was like 1.0. 1% of all tests were coming back positive at the end of July. Or at the beginning of July, rather. I'm sorry. So, beginning of July, 1% of all COVID tests were positive. By the beginning of August, it was 7%. And it's basically been between 7 and 8% since then, which is very bad. That means we have a high level of cases. It also means we're not doing enough testing. We do have also 17 new deaths confirmed yesterday. That puts our daily average of new deaths reported at 12 for the past 7 days. Which means 84 deaths in the past week, which is kind of a lot. That was 11 yesterday, so that's on the rise as well. We expect that to be on the rise. We expect that to continue to rise, because the deaths will always rise about 4 weeks after the cases do, 4 to 6 weeks. So the deaths that are happening now, or that are not even that are happening now, that are being reported now, reflect the beginning of that surge, right, in like early August. Right. So even after the cases start to come down, I'm presuming they will eventually start to come back down, the deaths will continue to rise for a few weeks. That's just the reality of the situation. Okay. Now the other number that is giving me some relief today, and that has been for the past couple of weeks, is hospitalizations. They actually went down for the day. 1,085 people currently hospitalized. That's down by 14 from yesterday. It's been kind of hovering right around that, sort of just below 1,100. Excuse me. It's been kind of going up and down, right in that range around 1,100. That is 30 more than a week ago. Okay, so still the general trend is upward, but it's very slowly going upward, which is better than going upward quickly, right? We're still at about 1/3 of those patients are currently in ICU beds. 332. That's actually down 2 since yesterday. So again, hospitalizations are at least level, right? They're not going up. They're not really going down meaningfully. The trend is pretty level right now at hospitalizations, which is better than going up. You'd like to see it lower, but we'll take it as long as it's not going up anymore. This is Marcia asked, "Is this Dane County or is this statewide?" This is statewide data. Um, Dane County is, I mean, obviously it's only one county, so you're not going to have 3,600 cases just in Dane County. It's more like a couple hundred every day in Dane County. Um, and Dane County is typically on a per capita basis, on a per 100,000 people basis. Dane County is in that high transmission category, which sounds bad, but that's actually the best situation right now. There are a handful of counties that are in high, 6 counties in high transmission, 64 in very high, and 2 in critically high. Right. So Dane County is over 70% vaccinated. So Dane County is doing actually much better. Let me see if I can get a better sense of for you for just for Dane County today. I can't find it now. Sorry. I can tell you the PHMDC, Public Health Madison-Dade County, puts out their data snapshot every Thursday, so that gives you a really good sense. We are seeing a surge among children in Dane County, which we don't like to see. But that's because the county is quite vaccinated, but kids obviously can't be yet. Yeah, they're not even. PHMDC is not even reporting daily numbers anymore, I don't think. All right, so that's the COVID information. And again, it's not good. It's not terrible. I really thought with 1,500 on a Monday, I thought today would at least be over 3,000, which it is. I feared it could be even higher. So to be at 3,600 feels about right. And the positive test rate still at 7.9 is bad, but not as bad as I thought it could be. So we're going to take a short pause. Don't scroll away. I'll be back in about 1 minute, and we'll have some news, some additional news from the Madison area for you. Don't go away. We will be right back. Right, and it is Madison Tuesday $5/jobs if you're looking for work, or if you're hiring and want to recruit a diverse talent base. If you want to reach people of color, you got to come to Madison 365. All right, today we on the website this morning we have a story of Willy Street Co-op and a woman named Desiree House. Desiree House was this is her. She was a customer at Willy Street Co-op yesterday morning. She posted this on Facebook, and I spoke with her yesterday afternoon. She was there to pick up some breakfast on her way to her job. She works at the airport. She's a car rental agent at the airport. She was on her way to work. Stopped at Willy Street Co-op to get some breakfast. Went to the hot breakfast bar they have, and she alleges. We don't have audio of this or anything, but she alleges that an employee said to her, "Don't make a habit of coming here. You know you can't pay for that with food stamps." Which obviously is, I mean, this is obviously racially biased, right? Like, why would you assume that she's on food stamps, or that she was going to try to, and she said to this employee, like, I know you can't buy hot food with food stamps, so I'm not going to. And the employee said, "This is this store is meant for people who live in the neighborhood, in the area." And Desiree said, "Well, I do live in the neighborhood. She lives right around the corner." And finally, this woman said, "This is it's a source for people who care about what they put in their bodies," which I don't know what kind of shaming thing that is. So she posted this on Facebook in the Dane County Neighbors Helping Neighbors group, which is a group founded at the beginning of the pandemic for folks to help each other out. And that's where I saw it. That's why I reached out and got in touch with her. She was very generous in sharing her story with me and trusting us to tell it, which she didn't have to do, you know. So Willy Co-op responded. To their credit, they responded to me last night. I didn't talk to her till almost 5 o'clock last night. I emailed their communications person after I spoke with her, and they did get back to me with a statement saying that they're going to look into it. They take it seriously, basically that they believe her, right? Which a lot of institutions like that, the response would be like, "We're not going to comment until we complete the investigation," right? But their stance was basically like, "We believe you. That's unacceptable, and we're going to address it. We're going to figure out who it is." They talked with her, like they actually talked to her on the phone. And then later in Facebook messages that she shared with me, they said, the general manager, the store manager rather, said, "I understand that what I said on the phone probably didn't sound convincing. Probably was just, it sounded like canned answers. I'm not sure what to say. I think I know who the employee is, and we're going to get to the bottom of it." They had some diversity, equity, inclusion training scheduled, and they're going to accelerate it. And they were going to have meetings today at the East Side store where this happened. This is last night. They were saying tomorrow we're going to meet with all the department heads and make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of how we treat customers. So, saying the right things, seeming to take it seriously. Lots of people. You didn't want to report this exactly because it's all kind of like vague and like speculation, but a lot of people have said in comments that that's the vibe they get at Willy Co-op. That it's this kind of bougie white liberal place where people of color don't feel particularly welcome. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if they follow through. We'll probably follow up at some point and make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. Also, but that story is at Madison365.org if you want to, get all the details and all the context and everything. But again, thanks to Desiree House for sharing that story with us and allowing us to tell her story. Also in the news today, Forward Community Investments, local community development financial institution that give away small grants to small businesses. They invest in real estate. They give loans for community-based real estate development. They have a new CEO, and his name is Ryan Zerwer, and he comes to Forward Community Investment. There's so many things named Forward in Madison. There's Forward Theater Company, Forward Community Investments, Forward Madison, the football club. So it's hard. You got to say Forward. You got to pause and say Community Investments. He comes from. Was formerly a partner, CEO, and president of Clotho Digital, and brings a lot of experience in real estate investment and the tech industry to FCI. He's also on the board of Madem, which is a tech nonprofit that teaches coding and other tech skills to middle school kids, mostly girls of color. So that's a terrific organization. Also, we're going to have some news about them before too long also. And national news, you might have seen this picture. This is kind of a disturbing picture, so be warned. But the Border Patrol was caught on camera rounding up Haitian refugees with I don't know if they're actual whips or if they're just cords being used as whips. But it's a pretty disturbing scene. There's video, there's photos, and the Biden administration yesterday, this is at the Mexican border, and these are folks from Haiti, where, if you didn't know, there was an earthquake and their president was assassinated. The Biden administration has expressed shock and disgust at these images. So what's going to happen? We don't know. but that was the what's happening yesterday at the border. These border patrol agents mounted on horses were using some sort of whip of some kind to try to round people up and send them back to Haiti, where the infrastructure and the economy are still pretty much destroyed. So that's the national news for today. We will have more for you. We have some couple of big stories coming tomorrow and Thursday, so watch for those in the mornings. Some really good reporting from at the national level and the local level on disparities in law enforcement referrals of students being referred to law enforcement for discipline issues, or basically cops being called on kids. It will not come as any surprise that black and brown kids get called into police. They have encounters with police, have the police calls on them far more often than white kids. So we're going to dig into that over the next 2 days. And we'll actually have one of our reporters who's been working on that story on the show here on Thursday. So watch for that. And we'll catch up on that and have that for you again tomorrow and Thursday. Until then, have a wonderful evening. We'll be back here tomorrow with another COVID update and some more news. So enjoy your evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.